Hello, friends, and welcome back to 20 Questions With. For those of you who are new here, this is my fun way of introducing you to other costumers and costubers by asking them 20 silly questions. Today, we're talking to Marty of Scraps and Sequins. Welcome to my channel, Marty.
Hello.
Can you
Like
tell?
I always do this.
That's why this thing is not hugs to me. It's like jazz hands. Hey.
It's like I'm so excited to see you.
Yeah, like that emoji is not hugs, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your channel, and all that kind of stuff?
Okay, so I'm Marty. My channel is Scraps and Sequins. I want to say that like I mainly focus on like late 1500s Italian Renaissance clothing, but that's not true. I'm most of the videos on my channel are like making clothes for my everyday wardrobe, which tends to be like more vintage Edwardian is what it's leaning towards. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You're having like a wardrobe spiritual awakening.
I am, and there's mental health reasons that are part of that. So
all right, now that we have a mic plugged in.
YouTuber problems.
Also, I slept for about 4 hours last night. I may or may not have been up till 8:30 this morning watching The Crown.
You know, that's a valid reason. My husband went out of town one weekend and I like binged watched all of Anne with an E. And I texted him in the middle of the night and I was like, I need you home because Mary just died and I can't handle it on my own.
I haven't watched that.
That might be spoilers, but
Is it really good?
It depends on, it's like Anne of Green Gables, but like more adult, like they handle the topics in a more adult way than like other versions do. It's definitely not geared towards children. I would say more like teens and young adult, older.
Right. Okay. Are you ready to play 20 questions?
Yeah.
If you were a tree, what tree would you be and why?
I feel like I would be an aspen.
Okay.
Because they like have really pretty leaves in the fall. And you can always like pick out the aspen in like the group of pine trees.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just stand out. I feel like I stand out everywhere I go. So I'll be an aspen.
Okay. I like aspens. Although I have a funny story about one night I was in college and I may have been slightly inebriated and my friend decided to take me on a night hike in Colorado through the aspens. And all I could see was like these little eyeballs in the tree, like everywhere. And I was tripping out on it. And then it was really bright, like, because it was a full moon, but I was inebriated. And I was like, oh, aliens. And I was totally fine with that. And she's like, or the moon. So
the only story I have involving an aspen tree is when I did boffer fighting in high school. And we had 2 aspen trees in our backyard that were just like little, but they were there. And like we had a fighter practice in my backyard. And this like we were practicing like evasive maneuvers. So like if someone charges you, you're supposed to like make a J movement to like get offline and then attack them. Well, apparently I didn't really realize how close I was to the aspen trees, or I was just hyper focused on the guy attacking me. So I moved backwards, like pretty much at a sprint, like as fast as I could run backwards. And I go to make this turn, and I basically like face plant it into this aspen tree and then fall over.
Yeah, okay.
So, you know, you thought they were aliens and I just run into them.
That's amazing. Did you say boffer fighting? Is that like amp guard?
Yeah, amp guard does boffer fighting. I did it with a different group. It was a different group.
Right. But whacking each other with pool noodles is the way to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I got my concussions.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's something a lot of people are missing out on because they don't know about it?
Maybe historical reenactment stuff, because like that's something that's brought me a lot of joy in my life and got me really into costuming, because for a long time I had the rule that if I didn't have the place to wear something, I couldn't make it.
Yep. But that's not really reenacting though. Like reenacting is like this is the reenactment of the Battle of 1812 or whatever.
Well, like recreating history in some sort of way.
Yeah, okay.
We call it reenactment, but it's really, well,
It's
I
just
guess,
historical costuming, unless you're actually literally taking on characters and reenacting something.
Yeah, so the first group, that Boffer group that I told you about, they were like serious reenactors. They're like, we're within this like 100 years, and if you can't document it, you can't be it. And so I found, yeah. And so I'm just like, but I want to be a female fighter on the field. And they're like, but if you can't document it, you can't do it. And I'm like, fine. So I got 10 other guys and we formed a Viking household. And I said, here's the sagas.
I still don't know if that's reenacting, because the reenactors get really uppity about you. You have to literally be taking on, like, I am George Washington and I would have stood right here. And then I would have marched 4 paces to my left and said, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's a script to a reenactment. So, like, the reenactors, if you start talking about that in the way that they don't acknowledge reenactment, they get real uppity. So we just call it historical costuming.
Historical recreationism, I guess, should be the term. Anachronism, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sure.
That's what I think. Everyone should experience that in one form or another in their life, just to be like, yeah, I tried that, that's not my thing, or to be like, oh my gosh, where has this been my whole life?
Yeah. Except you still get things like toilet paper and soap and stuff.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's not real reenactment.
Yeah, you're not, I mean, I've done the events where like you go out in the middle of the woods with only what you can pack in and it has to be documentable.
Yeah.
I've done those events. Give me a porta potty at least, please.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What is your favorite noodle dish?
I don't think I have a non-favorite noodle dish.
Okay. Do you have a genre of noodle dish that you enjoy the most?
Like creamy, cheesy Italian ones. And so it can be like a red sauce with lots of cheese, or it can be like an Alfredo buttery sauce with something. I haven't met a noodle dish that I haven't liked. We actually had to put a ban on noodle dishes in our house because we had them too often. And my husband was like, no, I'm done. So we currently have a ban on them.
My husband is a noodle hound. Like, he's just like, I want the nudes. Send nudes. And I'm like, you mean noodles? And he's like, yes, I do. What is your favorite way to waste time online?
I scroll through Pinterest or TikTok. I will be honest, I have a TikTok account that I don't post anything to. And I'm just there to lurk. So if I'm like, I can like waste an hour and I have time to waste an hour, I'll go on TikTok. But if I'm like, it's like 20 minutes, I'll go on Pinterest.
I feel like in this segregation by age, I am too old for TikTok at this point, because I look at it and I'm like, I don't understand. I mean, I understand, I get it. And also I'm highly annoyed by most of it. And I'm like, there's some that are like choice, but I'm like, these are just shitty vines.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They have a really good algorithm though. So like when you're on it for like a week, it figures out like, oh, hey, like I want to look at these kinds of videos. And so it shows you strictly those kinds of videos.
What animal would you choose to be?
Joe.
Yeah. Do you want to tell everybody about Joe? You can show.
Should we show everyone Joe?
Show your pouch.
Let me see if he wants to be shown. Nope. He says no.
That's Joe saying no. Tell everybody about Joe.
So Joe is in here. He is my sugar glider. I actually have a video about him on my channel. I think it's titled like Meet My Sugar Glider, and it like has a bunch of cute videos about him.
I'll link that down below.
And so yeah, he's my sugar glider. He's my companion animal. So like if I'm not wasting time on the internet, I am literally like holding him in one hand and like playing with his tail in the other, because it's like semi-prehensile.
Uh-huh.
So as long as he's awake, it'll curl back up.
Oh, that's fun. That's like a fidget spinner, but more interactive.
Yes. And then sometimes he'll like peek at me and be like, are you still annoying me? Cool. Yeah. And then he'll like curl back into his blanket.
I kind of really like it when Joe makes that noise that you just made him make, because he gets like pissy.
Let's see if I can make him make it again. He's like, no, Mom, I'm not playing that game.
Now I know you want me to make it, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah. That noise is called crabbing, and it's basically their only defense mechanism. It's like their first one, and their last resort is to like bite and scratch.
They just like scream at you in this really like funny way, which is very fun. Like I enjoy it a lot. Maybe I'm mean. Uh-oh.
I don't think you are, because I have friends that will, like, when they see me across a room, they will try to imitate Joe's crabbing noise to get my attention because they think it's really cute. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's weird at all. Like, I literally have friends that like call me by making that noise.
What would you do if you knew that you could not fail?
I'd make a suit, a really nice tailored suit.
That's a solid answer. Okay.
Because I feel like if I do it once and I like, if I can't fail at it, so obviously it's a success, then I'd be able to do it again.
What is the nicest compliment you have ever received? This is where I practice trying to make my eyebrows move separate. I don't have separate control of my eyebrows. I can be surprised or angry, and that's it. So I
can only lift the one.
I sit here doing this at people, trying to like figure out if I can make one work while they're thinking about it.
So like I tend to get really like anxious, I guess, when people give me good compliments.
Oh yeah, I hate it. I hate
like,
it.
Really self-conscious and kind of just like, so I don't tend to remember them because I'm just so like, thanks.
Yeah. I want to run away. Even when people say like, I don't know, one time I did something sort of heroic at work for a while. Like it was a big project and I basically handled it. And I got a very heartfelt thank you from like the president of the company. And like, I was like, it's all good. And then just ran away. So I hate it. I can completely understand that. I don't actually like praise.
Yeah. And like, I honestly don't remember the last time someone, so usually when I get compliments, like when, like I remember getting compliments, it's been in reference to like my work.
Mm-hmm.
And when I worked at the tailor shop, that was literally no positive reinforcement there. So like I can't remember the last time I've like actually received like.
People don't leave you compliments on your channel?
Not really. It's mostly just like, hey, like this is so good, or like you know, like the normal quick like, hey, this is cool type of comment.
Okay. The ones on my channel or like Instagram are the only ones I enjoy. Like I'll post, like when I posted this thing, I was like, I will bask in my glory now, thank you. But like, like I spent 4 months on this. I will take your compliments, but I need to quietly do it in a corner by myself, and I just need to read them. It's much easier.
So like handling, well, I guess I got a lot of compliments when I made my Ravenclaw dress.
Mm-hmm.
That was also like the first thing that I ever like posted. So it was like the first video series on my channel, and then like the first like big thing that I posted on my Instagram.
I'll link that down below.
It should be Toledo burial gown, maybe. Ravenclaw. I don't remember what I titled that one.
You should put Ravenclaw in the name, because that's like a search term that would be useful.
Yeah, that was before I knew about SEO. I need to change that.
I'm like, hey, you know, you can update stuff on YouTube, right?
Like changed the thumbnail for the video that I put out today like 4 times because I just wasn't happy with it.
I go back and tweak stuff all the time. Like I was like, at one point I'm like, oh, tags are a thing. And I went back and retagged all my videos, and suddenly they all did better. And I was like, oh, right. Okay. Wonder what else I should change. All right. Yeah, you have your own late night talk show. Who do you invite as your first guest?
I feel like everyone's like typical answer would be like a celebrity, but like people will name celebrities and I'll be like, who is that? And then they'll name like roles that they play and I'll be like, oh, I think I know who you're talking about. But like half the time I haven't even seen the movie. So I think I would probably just invite people from the costuming community. Like, I don't know who would want to watch a late night costuming thing, but that's probably what I would do.
I think I would probably invite someone super famous, like Obama or something, to try to get viewers so that they stuck around, and then I could get them to watch all the costumers.
Yeah. Because I just wouldn't think of that because I'm just like, because me and social anxiety do not get along.
That's totally fair.
Like I would just be like, I don't know. whoever the publicist is, you pick them.
That's
Like,
fair.
I'll sit and talk, but you can pick them.
I will hire a person to deal with this.
Yeah.
What is your favorite magical or mythological animal?
The first one that comes to mind is the Minotaur, but I don't know why.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Everybody so far has been like dragon or unicorn, and I'm like, okay. I'm like waiting for someone to say like, what is it, wyvern or whatever, just like some
Yeah. The
random.
one, the one that just has legs and then wings.
Mhm.
The first one I thought of would be like a Minotaur. Centaurs are pretty cool too, but like every depiction of them is pretty stuck up, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't really considered that. Yeah.
Because like the centaurs in Harry Potter are pretty stuck up, and then the centaurs in Percy Jackson are like helpful but also very stuck up.
Have you seen the Percy Jackson musical?
That exists. Is it like a Harry Potter musical? Is it like on that
No,
scale?
it is literally a Broadway musical. Like it came to my Broadway San Jose subscription, and I paid a lot of money for a ticket to go see it. It is righteously bad and amazing, and you should absolutely go see it. I don't even know anything about Percy Jackson. Like I've never seen Percy Jackson. I know I need to watch it, whatever. But like I went to this thing completely blind, and I was like, this is awful. I love it. Like,
I would suggest not watching any of the films, just read the books.
okay, that's fair.
Because like, so my friend took me to the Mean Girls on Broadway when it came here.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is disgustingly terrible, but also fantastic.
Yeah, it's like that. I
okay.
also saw Mean Girls on Broadway, and I friggin' loved it. So I feel you.
Okay.
I kind of love actual Mean Girls, like the movie, more than I love the Broadway, because they changed the storyline enough that I was like, no, the regular storyline's actually better. Yeah. But like, this is bad and also awesome. And I actually, the set for that, did they have that one set that was like literally a giant video screen?
That yes, just sort of it was so amazing.
It was the coolest set I've ever seen. Okay, so for people who don't know what we're talking about, it looked like a high school. So like it would have like a texture of a wall, and then it would come out a little bit, like so that they could impersonate lockers or, you know, a cafeteria with windows around the top or whatever. And then they would just project, or maybe not projecting, maybe it's an actual video screen. They would display different rooms in a high school or a bedroom or whatever, just on the thing. So they never had to dress the set. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. They might bring in like lunchroom tables or lockers or bathroom stalls or whatever onto set, but it was like not a big deal when they did that. It was amazing. Like that was the coolest set.
So my mom had a subscription to the Kennedy Center when she was living out in DC. And she would go pretty much like once a month.
Yeah.
And she said that was becoming the norm in a lot of like newer musicals, because I think American in Paris is the one that she said had a similar set where they just like did the screens.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's just so genius. Like we have the technology, just like use it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like that, and I also kind of like the opposite end of that, which is like Hamilton, where the whole set is the same, the exact same the entire time, and it somehow works for every single scene. So yeah.
I saw a production of Les Mis that was like that, and honestly, that's what made that, like, Les Mis is my favorite.
Yeah.
And like that was the reason how come I liked it, is because they literally just had like two pillars on either side of the stage, and they would like move them forward and back depending on what they were trying to depict. And sometimes they would move one off stage and one back onto stage.
Yeah.
But that was the entire set.
So I've seen Les Mis 12 times. And I am always impressed with how little they put on that stage. Like it's almost all done with lights, which I'm just like, that's amazing. Would you rather be able to talk with animals or speak all foreign languages?
All foreign languages.
You are the first person to say that. Tell me why.
I have wanted to learn a foreign language for a while, because I feel like when you understand another language, you're more likely to understand another culture, which like helps broaden who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Also, like when people speak in a foreign language, I just naturally want to know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like prime example is my husband speaks Spanish, and so does one of his best friends. And so when they get together, like, I now know that they're just hitting on each other because that's what they do. But like when we were like still all friends and like hanging out, I'm just like, what are you guys talking about?
Right. Occasionally you hear your name and you're like, wait a minute.
No, because they had nicknames for everyone.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
So
genius.
like when my husband and I were still friends, but like before we started dating, like we were just in this giant friend group, and I was the only girl in a group of like 5 guys. Like story of my life, it's normal.
Same for me
But
usually.
like yeah, like but all the guys had like nicknames for all the girls that they were interested in. And so like my name never got brought up until my husband was just like, "Hey, I think I like you," and then like awkwardly put me on the spot. But
You're like, cool, let's get married.
no, no, that's not how that happened. No, it went more like, I don't feel the same way for you. Let me date this random idiot for a year. Yeah.
When I met my husband, I was dating someone else for like 4 or 5 years, and then I thought he was super grody, and he was, and he's still kind of grody. Like honestly, he says grody stuff all the time, that I'm just like, no, stop being gross. Yeah, me and this other guy broke up, and then Chris and I were like at a baseball game, and we had too much alcohol. And then I woke up the next morning and I was like, oh no. And then he was like, I'm not going home. And then we got married. That's literally how it went. Like, you can ask him, that's how it went.
See, I broke up with my ex that I had dated for a year, and I went up to my husband and I'm like, I'm sorry I was a bitch. And he's just like, I'm sorry I was a dick. And then we're like, okay, let's feel each other out for like 6 months, and then we got married.
That's cool.
So,
I think it's better to be friends first.
I would agree. Like you learn, like I feel like when you're dating someone, like they're trying in some way trying to impress you or trying to be like that person. But when you're just friends, they're
You
like,
don't care.
yeah, they make jokes about you tying up a mutual friend in a different room, and
Yeah.
that's how my husband and I became friends. He made inappropriate comments.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
how I almost wasn't friends with mine. He says things like, ooh, your flesh is cool to the touch. And I'm like, why are you so creepy? Stop it. And everybody else thinks
Ew.
that's funny because I freak out about it. And I'm like, that's not okay, guys. Just so we're all clear. Stop being creepy. He loves
No.
being creepy. He's a giant creeper.
Yeah,
He's a good egg, but he's a giant creeper.
I mean, I feel like all guys have that line where you're just like, yeah, you're tolerable to this point,
Yeah.
and I love you, but don't go past there.
Yeah. He's very well trained now, so it's fine. He knows what he's allowed to say to me and what he's allowed to say to anybody else, and those are different.
Also a very good distinction.
Yeah, and he also knows that if he says anything to anyone else that's super creepy, I'm gonna start screaming. I sound like Joe. I'm like, yeah. If you could travel anywhere outside of this planet, where would you go and why?
Outside of the planet,
Yep.
I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't. I have like no desire to leave the planet. I like
Okay.
like I'm watching like all the space missions that are happening now, and I'm like, cool story, bro. You do you.
I find them fascinating. I love space stuff, but I don't want to go there. I'm a surface dweller too.
Yeah, like as a sci-fi, like I will watch all the space sci-fi, like dystopian sci-fi. Love it. Do I want to live in either of those conditions? Nope.
Okay, but you wouldn't want to like just go see what Saturn really looks like?
No, because someone can send me a picture.
Okay, that's fair. Totally fair.
That's what pictures are for.
It's true. What is your favorite section of the grocery store?
Okay, which grocery store? Like a normal grocery store or my international food market?
What is your favorite section of the grocery store?
And like a normal grocery store is probably the ice cream aisle. And our international food market is probably the chocolate aisle.
You have a sweet tooth, is what I just learned.
Yeah. I also have an intolerance to sugar, so it's a balancing act.
An intolerance to sugar. Wow.
Yeah. So it's like a lactose intolerance, but it's to processed sugars.
Wow. That's very unfortunate because there's a lot of those out there.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a balancing act, and it depends. Like carbs don't fall into that.
Uh-huh.
It has to be like refined sugar.
Yeah.
But I mean, we also live in the US and they put sugar in everything. And I put sugar in everything when I bake.
Everything.
So it's a thing.
What is the most useful item you have purchased during COVID?
What have I purchased during COVID? I mean, fabric is pretty much the only thing I've bought.
Wow. The rest of us went on a giant shopping spree.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of spendable income.
Like I bought a pan that is amazing. And now I don't know how I lived my life without that pan.
Is it like the single pot, whatever that thing's called?
No, but I'm sorely tempted by that. Like if I didn't have 50,000 other pans, I would totally buy that pan because I get that ad on Instagram all the time and I'm like, that looks amazing. I am such a sucker for Instagram ads. No, it's just a crepe pan. So it's like a frying pan without sides.
Yeah.
And like that is the most useful thing ever because you don't have to like deal with the sides. Like you can just cook an egg on it and it's like a griddle but round. Yeah.
I have a similar one. It has like the sides are like half an inch tall and it's square. And I love it.
It's a great pan. Like you can cook anything on it. It's fantastic.
I cook all my breakfast foods on it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think the only one I don't is bacon because I use that mesh thing on top of a frying pan to make the grease not splatter. I just found out about that like 2 years ago and I was like, that's amazing. I had no idea that existed.
I didn't know that existed either. Might have to invest in one.
Yeah, it's like a giant mesh circle with a handle and you can just set it on top of the pan so when all the splatter happens, it just happens into the mesh thing and then you can just wash the mesh thing.
Okay.
It saves you a lot of stove cleaning, let me tell you.
That might be the most useful thing I will buy during COVID.
Let me know.
I'll look it up. I'll let you know.
Okay. Which one book is one that you've always wanted to read but didn't ever get around to it?
I mean, I have like, I'm looking at my books that I have. Can it be one that like I haven't finished reading because I haven't gotten around to it?
Sure.
Okay. So it's called The Cultural World of Eleanor de Toledo. And it's supposed to be like one of the best like autobiographies about her. And she's kind of my fashion muse for my late 1500s Italian Ren.
Mm-hmm.
And she's, from what I can like remember from what I've read and what I've researched, like she married Cosimo de' Medici, who pretty much like, in between the two of them, they pretty much like preserved the Medici line going into the 1600s.
Mm-hmm.
And like their love story is like super adorable because like Cosimo became of age and they're like, we should find you a wife. So they sent an ambassador to Viceroy of Naples, I think is who her father was. And was like, hey, like we have someone who wants to marry one of your daughters. And he said, well, you can marry my oldest. So the ambassador went back to Cosimo and Cosimo was like, I don't want Isabella, I want Eleonora. The ambassador went back to the Viceroy of Naples and was just like, we want your second daughter. And he went, deal. And because, that's how marriages were done. Anyway. But like together they like rebuilt, from what I can tell, they rebuilt a lot of the patronage and artisans in Florence, because that had kind of died after Lorenzo the Magnificent because he made horrible life choices.
I'm like stuck on the daughter thing and like passing your daughters around. Like I'm still stuck on that. I'm gonna be stuck on that for a while, I think. Yeah. When my husband was gonna, like, I knew he was gonna ask me, he's like, do I need to like talk to your dad? And I was like, if you do that, I'm gonna say no. That's not my dad's purview.
My husband, it was after we were married, somehow the topic got brought up. And I was like, did you even consider like asking my mom? Because like, I don't know if that's like a thing we ever talked about. And he was like, I'm pretty sure your mom wouldn't have cared. And I'm just like, yeah, you're probably right. And like, there's a very specific reason. It's because the first time my mom met my husband was when he was over at my house playing a card, I think it was Magic, with my brother, and she had come over so that way we could like carpool to like drive across the country. So she had met this guy for like maybe a 6-hour window because he was hanging out with my brother and we were doing stuff. And the entire drive across the country and back, she was just like, I really like him. I really, really like him. And I'm like, Mom, I get it. You said this like 3 hours ago.
I have a very similar story. My mom showed up here for her, I think it was her 50th birthday, maybe something like that. And so I threw her a surprise party, but I just invited all my friends. Um, and so we went out to dinner and there was like all these people there. And so I sat her with a bunch of them instead of like, she sees me all the time. So like, she doesn't need to like, so anyway, Chris got sat next to her. And this was like when I was in the Nope place. And so they basically had dinner together. And then she goes, he's really great. You need to find him a girlfriend. And at the time I was dating someone, so that girlfriend wasn't me, but like later she was like, I knew. And I was like, okay.
Okay, thanks, Mom.
Yeah. But I was like, if you ask my father for my hand in marriage, I will not marry you because you should know better. You should ask me for my hand in marriage. F that.
Apparently my brother tried to do the, well, since like her dad's not in her life, like I'm gonna be the man and you better treat her right thing. And apparently my husband just laughed at him. Like my brother started and then my husband was just like, no, we're not having this conversation.
Go away now. Thanks.
It's just like, I don't know where my brother got the idea that that would be like remotely okay, because my mom and I are pretty like strong, independent women.
Yeah.
So it's probably just a cultural thing he felt like he had to do. But
what is your, I wish I had started doing this earlier in my life?
I kind of wish I would have started YouTube sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I started like filming and editing videos in 2018, if I'm being honest. But I didn't post anything until the end of 2019. And I kind of wish I just would have posted things. Because I could always like remove them later. Yeah. But like just, I don't know. I spent a year like working on my editing. So I guess it's not all bad. I
solved this by not editing. I was like, it's all happening in one shot, guys.
I to film vlogs and I'm just like, I feel awkward.
Yeah.
Voiceovers all the way.
It's funny how different people are attracted to the different, there's so many different styles of filming, and you can tell the person's personality like sort of by which one they pick. A lot of the time. Like vloggers are not the same people as people who make like cinematic style videos, or even just like how-to tutorials, or you know, one of the millions of other ways you could do it. So I find that very fascinating. And that's one of the really interesting things about CosTube is there's so many different like styles of video being filmed.
Yep. I mean, every once in a while, I'll like take a weekend and be like, I'm going to film like my weekend sewing vlog, because I tend to get a lot done in like 2 days. And then I will like go through this footage and I'll be like, yeah, no, delete.
See, I'm like, oh, they're going to love this. Keep it. But I am also the person who gets like yelled at if my videos are less than like 45 minutes. Like there's literally people who are like, hi, my workout is 45 minutes and I need you to go ahead and make these videos longer than 45 minutes. Otherwise I don't have anything for that last 10 minutes, Noelle. And I'm like, I hear you. We'll see what we can.
I just want to get a 10-minute video. I just want consistently 10-minute videos.
I would love to do a 10-minute video. That is not happening. I have trained my people that they're an hour and that's the end of that.
Pros and cons, I
mean? These ones are very funny though, because they're all over the place, right? So I think it's because it's like a specific series that I don't get barked at so much, but yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Literally, I posted a video that was like 30 minutes long and I got 4 comments that were like, what is this shit, Noelle? I was like, I think it's funny, so I laugh when I get those. Like, I don't take it offensively, but like, it's very funny to me.
I mean, what are people actually going to do other than comment, right?
Right.
And usually, like, if someone is that worked up that they're going to comment, like, you're just like, whew, that's a lot of emotion. I'm glad you released it.
Oh, there was someone who was like all capping an entire paragraph about Chicago dogs at me. And I like actually commented back like, that's a lot of screaming about Chicago dogs, ma'am. And
I
they
think I
were
might have
like,
seen that comment.
Chicago dogs are serious business, Noelle. And I was like, yeah, okay. I think the person was from Chicago, so yeah.
I mean, it's what it is. I've gotten like walls of text before. I've also got someone that like without my consent started putting me in their kink and commenting about it on my videos. So I sent them a very direct like, I do not consent, please stop, and then blocked him on all platforms.
Hide user from channel is my favorite button ever.
Yeah.
People don't know about that. So for people out there who don't know, we have this button called hide user from channel. And hide user from channel lets you, the viewer, watch and comment all you want, giving us interaction and views and therefore ad revenue. However, we never see you again. Like, you just vanish off of our radar. We can't see your comments. We don't know that you viewed it. We don't know anything about you ever again. Mm-hmm. So when people make comments at me that I'm like disgusted with, well, actually I comment back at them something like horrible, like I try to make them feel bad for being a jerk, because like I think people need to get told when they're being a jerk. And then I wait for them, because it shoots an email off to them, so I wait for that email to shoot off, so I wait a couple hours and then I hit that button that says hide user from channel.
I think there's like a special tab in like the studio where you can go through and like just read through all of them, but like why?
No, I just have never seen them again. It's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
And it's great because it doesn't offend them. They don't know they got blocked. Like, there's nothing about it. They can come, like, I kind of enjoy hate watchers because they will always show up.
Yeah, the hate watchers are a special breed of people, I feel like.
Yeah. I'm like, wow, your life is really sad. I want to give you a hug, actually.
Yeah, this is like, ooh, like, I wish you had a hobby. Well, I guess that is their hobby, but...
Oh, I hadn't considered it that. Maybe they're trying to get really good at their hobby.
Yeah, maybe...
My hobby is block user from channel.
So we hide them from our channel and they just like practice their hobby. So I feel like that's a vicious cycle to be in.
Oh, I think it's great, actually, because it lets me practice my hobbies, which are sewing and making YouTube videos, and it lets them practice their hobby in peace. They can rage all they want and I don't have to deal with it. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I get views.
All the
Thank
hobbies.
you for that 0.000135 cents. If there was a room filled with everything you've ever lost, what item would you be most excited to recover?
I don't know. Because I don't know what would be in that room.
Everything you've ever lost.
Yeah, but I don't know what would be in that room.
You don't remember all the things you've lost?
Object permanence is not my strong suit.
If I'm in bed and I have my covers up, are you like, wow, you're a floating head? That's neat. And then I'm like, check this out, magic. Body, not body. Body, not body.
I'm not that bad, but
that's
like
what my cats think.
So I'm not that bad, but I do. So I have a big closet in my studio, right? And when like I get hyper focused on a project and I like need to get other things done, like editing a video or like spending time with my husband or like going to feed Joe, I will put the project in the closet, and that separation will like turn the hyper focus off, and I will like forget that it's there for like a week. So like I think I would walk into that room and be like, oh yeah, I remember this now, but I can't think of that.
I have like traumatic things I've lost, but I've also had like house fires and stuff, so you know.
Yeah.
All right, how long would you last in a zombie apocalypse?
I have friends that have specifically told me that they want me on their zombie apocalypse team because I can sew, and therefore I can help keep them warm. Because like sewing clothes and blankets and tents and things.
So you need like, materials, right?
Yeah. And this is my treadle machine. So as long as we can like somehow transport my treadle and materials, I'm useful. Okay. Other than that, I'm dead. First wave. But it also like it depends. Are they like World War Z zombies or are they like the 1930s like zombies?
I'm trying to remember if I think World War Z zombies are zombies. Hang on. Because there are some zombies that I don't consider zombies. Like 28 Days Later zombies are not zombies. That's an infection. Like if
I
you're
don't
sick, that's not a
typically
zombie.
I don't typically watch like zombie movies because they freak me out. So I'm
Yeah.
just like, I just know like, are they like basically slow and decomposing, or they are like aggressive and semi-sentient?
I don't know. That's the thing about a zombie apocalypse. You might get both. Like that is the thing that they never discuss in those movies. Like all zombies
Yeah.
are the same to them, and I'm like, that might not be how it is. Like you should be prepared for anything and all.
Yeah.
If you were a captain of a pirate ship, what would the name of your ship be?
The bobbin.
The Bobbin. All right,
The
that's a good.
bobbin. Yeah, because it bobs
Yeah,
and that's sewing related.
yeah, that's a good one.
The
Mine
bobbin.
would be called The Sassy Lass.
Ooh, that's a good one.
What movie do you rewatch over and over again?
Ever After is well, and the 95 Pride and Prejudice, but I have to be in a mood or like know that I'm going to be hyper focused for 8 hours before I put that one on. Otherwise, I will like have to watch it in stages.
I have a list in my phone of my top movies because I get asked weird questions all the time. So it's like, screw it, I'm just going to keep it in my phone. So Ever After is on my list of in the top. It's actually, I think, in the top 7.
Princess Bride is another one. My husband, I don't think my husband had watched it when we had started dating, and he hadn't seen Little Women either, but I didn't expect him to see that one. And so I'm just like, okay, you have your list of movies that I have to watch, and then I have a list of movies that you have to watch. So like all of the Back to the Future movies, and what's that one? Bill and Ted. Those were the ones on his list.
Everyone thinks this is a Van Halen shirt, and I'm like, nope. All right, this is your question number 20. What old person things do you do?
All of them, literally all of them. I sew, I knit. When I bake everything from scratch. I like so when I put on my more like pinafores and like do my hair in Edwardian style, and like I just pass my husband, he'll be like, "Hey, Granny." I feel like that's just my life. That's just my aesthetic. I'm just a grandma. Like my body also like cracks and is like half broken. Like I feel like all grandmas are.
My husband is 8 years older than me, and he had premature graying, so he was gray when he was like 25. And so when I see him, I go, "Hey, Grandpa!" Like Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory. I'm like laboratory because that's the way he says it. My favorite thing in the entire world is when we go on vacation and it's happened twice. We come back and the guy who takes your blue slip at the airport that says like what you bought in a foreign country twice has gone, "How was your trip with your daughter?" And I was like,
Love it.
love it. The funny thing is
But
I'm the adult in the relationship.
you're older?
No, he's 8 years older than me, but I am the adult.
Oh, okay.
He plays
I
video
like to
games all day.
pretend I'm the adult in our marriage, but I'm not.
Yeah, Chris plays a lot of video games still. He just turned 50 and he's like, "Oh my god, have you seen this new Tetris game? Blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Yeah, I saw Tetris in the 80s, dude." All right, super controversial bonus question. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
I feel like it is because I feel like I classify anything between two pieces of bread as a sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I never really thought about it until you started asking, and then I'm just like, yeah, I feel like this is where I stand.
All right. Thank you for joining me today, Marty. I will leave a list of Marty's accounts down below so you can go check her out and show her some love, including a couple of those videos and playlists for you. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below letting me know what you're up to, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Bye, guys.